What inspired this switch where you were able to let go?
I went to see a girl called Ida Maria. Do you know Ida Maria? Where's she from? She's like, I don't know where she's from. She might be like Russian or something like that. She's somewhere, Sweden maybe. I don't know. But I went to see her support a band, and I can't even remember who she supported because that's how good she was. I went to see her, and like I was writing songs off the way they sounded, and I went to see her, and she was just going absolutely crazy at the gig, like, you know, falling over. She was just so into this music that I was in the crowd and I was struggling to stand still because she was so into it. It was making me want to get into it. So after that, I started writing songs off. Christ, she's just like a pop song singer-writer. Like, she's just like, and she really inspired my band, which is like nothing like her music. It's weird. She was just so into it, and I just went home and I was like, I want to start writing songs off the way they feel as opposed to the way they sound. So everything we write, if a chorus doesn't feel like it's hitting you and pushing you to the back wall, then it won't make our songs. So like everything we've written is to do with, like, does that hit you? Does that hit you there? Does it make it physically? Does it feel like it's knocking you over? So it was just the vibe she gave off, really. And she didn't really play that kind of music I'm talking about, but there was definitely something in her songs that were putting her in a trance and taking over her body. Do you know what I mean? So it's, that changed the way I started writing songs, really. And I was about 14, 15 when that happened. Okay. And that's when I wrote, you know, like 30% of this album that we're putting out. So
do you remember which was the first one you wrote after seeing her?
After seeing her, a song called Sidewinder. Yeah, I do, because we just started the band really, like, properly with the drummer we've got now, and he's called Bob, and he's the best drummer I've ever seen. He made me, our first band practice, man, he made me well up with tears, because it was just like a moment in the band where it was just like something's clicked, he's in, and as soon as he came in, the rhythm section just got groovy and sexy. He plays like a 100-stone black man. He's just the grooviest man on the planet, and like, he's proper good. So like, as soon as he came, we wrote a song called Sidewinder, which was the turning point of the band, and then, which is going to be on the album. So like, everything after that revolved around that. There's a song called Tyrants, which is the last song we ever played. I wrote that when I was like 14, 15, and I think you can tell in that one, there's the end of it, it just blows up, and I think you can feel like this tension and this coming togetherness, a collision, a cerebral collision, if that makes sense.
It does. So the album is called The Balcony.
Yeah.
When in the process did this title come up?
That's weird. That's the first time anybody's asked me that, because we've only just announced the album like 2 days ago, so you're the first person to ever ask what The Balcony is about. The Balcony, it was something that just kept coming up in my life. Like, when I was out in New York, this is the main reason I got the idea. It was two main reasons really, but this is the one I like telling best. I went in New York. I was doing some songwriting in New York for somebody out there, and every night when I went back, I was staying with these girls who put me up in their house in New York, and it was like a beautiful apartment, and you could go up these stairs right up to the rooftop, like Friends or something, and like overlook the whole city, like steam coming out the vents, everything. And I was just on the top. It was like, felt like I was on top of the world. Do you know what I mean? It felt like I was on top of New York, just this balcony. And I used to go up there, just have a smoke and think about lyrics. And I ended up writing songs on there every night. You know, like just lyrics all the time, going through things and thinking, would this change? And then that's where the original Balcony was. But then throughout the band, like when we went to record the album, we stayed in this cottage for 2 weeks, like about a month, and we completely no signal, we were out of touch with the world. It was just us in this room with music for a month, and all the lads had a bedroom next to each other in the middle of the house, and right at the back of the house, out of nowhere, like in the middle of nowhere, I had my room, which was like separated from the rest, and it had a balcony on it, and I used to go out and again smoke out there, and every day, the next day, I'd come in with a new idea for a song and say, change that guitar part, that needs to be this, and me and the producer used to fight and all this stuff about all different things that could work, and it basically just, I just think it's a good place to envision things, you know what I mean? Like, and I think if you say to somebody, you know, picture the balcony. I've asked people, when they've asked me why I call it the balcony, I've said to them, you know, what do you see when you picture a balcony? And people say different things to me every time. Like, I think it's a really imaginative place. So like, I envision nighttime and skyscrapers and looking over the world and this size, this hugeness. Whereas other people, like I asked the guy at our label called Jamie, I asked him what he thought, and he was like thinking of having dinner in the afternoon outside France, like in Paris, and like, so. And also, I stole this poetry book when I was a kid, and it was a T.S. Eliot poet book, and I just flicked through it really quick while I was thinking about, should I nick this? And then right as I flicked through, almost like the Ace of Spades when you're flicking through cards, it stood out, this poem called The Balcony, and I read it and I loved it, and I've always loved that poem, but I turned the page and read the rest and I didn't like any of the others, so it just, something, I don't know, it's just something that kept clicking with me all my life, so that was it.
Well, you mentioned going to a secluded place to work on the album, and also then The Balcony, which is quite a quiet place. So is that something you need to write?
Yeah, maybe.
A form of seclusion.
I don't know whether it's coincidental or not, but I've always written like on my own. So I always need to go and find some space. I can't write when the lads are around me and stuff like that. I always feel awkward because I'm always trying to come up with something, and it's like I don't know if they think I'm being daft or something, So it's yeah, I guess I've never tried to write in anywhere other than being secluded in a little middle of nowhere, really. So
because you have quite a heavy touring schedule. I think you're doing a lot of festivals.
Mental, mate. It's crazy.
So do you write on tour, or is that something that you?
I'm always writing lyrics. Like I always come up with lyrics, and when people are saying stuff, I'm like, what's that word mean? Right, spell it, and then like I always write meanings of things and street names where something has happened, and I'm always picking up lyrics, and I like when our roadie and stuff come in from a big night out, I'll be like, what happened tonight? And he'll tell me like about meeting a girl or something, and I'll be like, right, pen's out, write that. So like, just I'm always making notes, but I never really have the time really to pick up a guitar. When we were in, we played in Ohio. Oh no, Ohio. Where was it? Illinois or somewhere. Iowa, in the middle of nowhere. There was a guitar sat around, and I started writing this song, it's very catchy. So that might be a second album tune, you never know, but I do if I can, but I don't have the time really, so because we're always touring and then interviews and stuff like that, which are a great thing to do.
Well, you mentioned already playing live, that's why you started a band, so is this where the relentless touring comes from? Yeah,
definitely. Like even before we had a record deal, I think that the year before we got signed, we played like 230 shows in a year. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we used to gig every other night. We used to play in pubs in like England, so like nobody to get paid, make up our money and play in pubs, and then put everything back into the van and the hotel and go back on tour and sleep in the van sometimes, and like every penny we made went back into fuel for this van to tour around the world. We used to just show up and like, do you know Bank Kasabian?
Yeah.
We went to one of their gigs once and tried to sneak on the bill, and I was like, yeah, we were told we could support tonight and all this, and the tour manager was like, lads, fuck off, you're not getting on the bill. So we had to basically were like, shit, what are we going to do? So we went and rented a generator, revved this generator up, set all the stuff up outside, and as Kasabian's gig ended, the doors opened, thousands of people came out the gig, and we were in the car park, and we just started playing, had this, 1,000 people in the car park bouncing, started pissing it down with rain, and Bob was playing drums and splashing everywhere like you see in the films, and then police came and shut us down for sound pollution, and everyone went and then give loads of CDs out and stuff like that, and then we played I played a gig in Warrington, which is like a place in England, small place in England, and an acoustic in a shop, like a record store. Right. And I mentioned that story, and there was like 13 people in the crowd who were just like, we were there that day, that's how we know your band. So like, and we wore like ninja masks as well, so it was like, who are these fucking ninjas playing in the rain? Do you know what I mean? So it was like
it's also a very grassroots approach to playing music, right?
Well, it was the only way we knew, we like I say, we never had any money or never had any like publicity or backing from major labels or anything like that. It was very much, in the early days, it was very much just us, that was it, and we had each other and that was it, and we couldn't even afford a beer at most times. That's why I was stealing poetry books, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
so do you feel now then that things are looking up? Well, you already mentioned it's not the money side that you're in it for, but
that's the thing, it was never not looking up to us, you know what I mean? We were just like pleased to be out of the house. So the fact that if we were playing like when we went over to America, it was like starting again, so we'd be playing to like, we played a bar one night and it was like 30 people there, so it was, and I was like, this is fucking ace, man, 30 people in America, and like the promoter was coming up to me going like, just so you know, you've got to start somewhere, don't worry about how many people turn up, and I was like, are you kidding me, 30 people's amazing, like, to come out here and play to 30 people in America who fucking know who I am, I'm just some little shit from Llandudno, you know what I mean? So it's never not been looking up, mate, to be honest, so everything we've done since I was 13, 14 was like bliss for me, so And it's no different. We don't pay. We don't even take money. Like we got a record in and stuff, but we don't take any money. We just live how we've always lived. You know, like really simple, really bohemian. Like really just write songs, sing them, and you know, have a good time. Be polite to people, say alright to people, and you know, just sit around and enjoy it and meet new people. Don't worry about everything so much. So just very chill, man. It's very nice. Very nice place to be.
Okay.
Really.
It's a good note to end it on. So
There
thank
you
you very much for your
Mate,
time.
absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. Love you. Pleasure. Thank you.